I'm Phyllis Jackson. Welcome to Stay at Home Connect.
COVID-19 cases up now in 31 states. The COVID tracking project showing that the test positivity rates are up in 25 states. Georgia among over a dozen states holding steady. Doctors say there's growing evidence that COVID-19 could cause sudden hearing loss. A study published in the International Journal of Audiology reports that of the 138 COVID-19 patients reviewed, 13% reported a change in their hearing. Doctors believe the virus is known to cause blood clots in other areas of the body and think this could be happening in the very small blood vessels found in the inner ear. Other challenges included tinnitus, or ringing of the ears. The CDC now acknowledging that coronavirus is spread through viral particles in the air. The agency's website previously stated that the virus was mainly thought to be transmitted between people within 6 feet apart from each other and through respiratory droplets when an infected person talks, sneezes, or coughs. The updated version says it's commonly spread between people in close contact and spread through respiratory droplets produced when an infected person coughs, sneezes, sings, talks, or breathes. It also says infection can occur if those particles are inhaled into the nose, mouth, airways, and lungs. Local hospitals are gearing up for what could be a rough winter of COVID-19 and the flu. I recently spoke with WellStar infectious disease specialist Dr. Danny Brandstetter.
Tell me what WellStar is doing right now to prepare for, this onslaught of a potential twindemic. How are you guys preparing the public and preparing for what could be an increase in hospitalizations?
Yeah, great question. So much like our start in December of 2019, when we knew the coronavirus was happening over in China and Asia, we prepared. So we were thinking about what's possible this fall and making sure that we have necessary equipment, necessary supplies, training our personnel what to look for, and doing screening methods, asking the right questions. And then thinking about how do we expand our capabilities if needed. So it's all in preparation. Have a great emergency preparedness team in WellStar. So it's been really good to see them in action, and kudos to them for all the work they've done. The second thing is we're preparing the community. So talking to people like you, Phyllis, who's getting the word out to help the community prepared for what they need to do to stay safe. And then we're making sure that people understand the importance of staying healthy. Going to your doctor, making sure your chronic diseases are managed well, your diabetes, your COPD, your heart failure. And then vaccinations, right? We know that they're helpful in influenza. So we are encouraging everyone to speak to their care provider about, do they need it and is it safe for them to get it? And if it is safe, then I would encourage everyone to get a flu vaccine. It's only going to be helpful in not only reducing the spread of influenza, but also just keeping you as healthy as possible. So if you happen to have any other complications this winter, it reduces the risk of you having a further added double, as you call, twindemics.
Atlanta City Council member CLETA Winslow honored as part of an Unsung Heroines mural. The event, held near the Goodwill thrift store on Ralph David Abernathy Boulevard, was part of this year's Elevate Art Festival. Councilmember Winslow says she's honored to be acknowledged.
These are people that have been committed to the West End and Westview communities, but even with that, they've been committed overall to the city of Atlanta in terms of making this city better.
That's a wrap. We'll see you on the next edition of Stay at Home Connect.
I was just blessed to be able to be on the wall, not knowing that I was going to be here until a couple of days ago, and somebody sent me a photograph. But the mother of Willie Watkins, and who helped to get the funeral home here in West End. So most of the people on the wall are people that I know, people that I've worked with. So these are people that have been committed to the West End and Westview communities, but even with that, they've been committed overall to the city of Atlanta in terms of making this city better. And I don't know of any other place, now that I'm going through my mind, where they're they're women that are being honored. So this is truly something great here in this city.
Hello, I'm Atlanta City Council member Andrea Dickens. Census 2020 is upon us. The results of the census impact every aspect of our daily lives. Congressional representation, funding for schools, roads, and even hospitals. It's all determined by data from the census. It's just a few easy questions and will only take 10 minutes to complete. You can respond online, by phone, or by mail. ATL counts. Census 2020. Atlanta is counting on you.
In times like these, what we trust is put to the test. With the coronavirus changing lives around the coastal Empire and Lowcountry, it's important to know the power of being informed.
WTOC Savannah news anchor Don Baker greets viewers each night with pertinent information that impacts their lives. When that information turned into news about a pandemic, she did what she felt she needed to do: take action. Dawn became the first person in the U.S. to receive Moderna's Phase 3 COVID-19 vaccination.
How did you get involved with this study, and how did you become a part of it?
Well, Dr. Paul Bradley is the chief investigator with the vaccine study through Moderna, and Meridian Research Clinic is actually operated in his office. And so they do all kinds of research on every ailment that anyone could possibly have. So he called me about 4 days before this third phase began, and he said, I really need a favor. Would you be interested in taking part in the study? And I said, well, is it a live vaccine? He goes, no, why would I give you COVID-19? I'm like, hey, I got to ask. I said, is it going to make me more likely to get COVID-19? And he told me no. And so he told me, well, I should think about it, give me a call back. So I did. And, I just thought that this was the right fit for me. I know people who have died from COVID-19. I know young people who are perfectly healthy, who've had a serious bout with COVID-19, who end up in the hospital on a ventilator and have had so many health issues since then. So it really did affect me in a big way, and I really wanted to do something to help. When I talked to the doctor, and he said that in phase 1 and phase 2, the most severe side effects anyone had was a mild cold, perhaps a fever, a headache. I figured that's a very small price to pay if we can get ourselves out of this terrible dark pit that we've been in for far too long.
Baker says she has 5 remaining in-person doctor's visits over 2 years. She uses an app to document
On the fence and a little nervous, and they have some trepidation about getting involved in a study like this.
I have learned that there really is a need for diversity in all of these studies, because I didn't know until I really started doing my own research and talking to doctors, not just my doctor, but doctors of color from different areas of the country, that, we as Black people react to medication differently than a Caucasian person, than a Latino person. So there is a need for not just me or a handful of people who are my ethnic background to be a part of the study, because we need to know that it works safely on everyone.
I'm Dawn Baker, evening news anchor from WTOC in Savannah, Georgia, and the history-making woman who rolled up that sleeve boldly. She's gone where none of us have gone before. And so thank you for paving the way for us. And we want to monitor you and stay in touch with you so we can see how you're faring over these next couple of years. And we thank you for what you've done. And I think you've opened up a great door for a lot of people who may follow suit.
Well, thank you so much, and look forward to talking to you again soon.
Good morning, everyone. This is Felicia Moore, your Atlanta City Council President, welcoming you to our virtual special call meeting for Thursday, October 15th, 2020 at 9 o'clock a.m. And I will start with the call to order and call this meeting to order. The next, we will have our municipal clerk do the roll call.
President Felicia A. Moore.
Present.
Council members, Post 1 at large, Michael Julian Barnes.
Here.
Post 2 at large, Matt Westmoreland.
Here.
Post 3 at large, Andrea Dickens.
Here.
Council District 1, Carla Smith.
Here.
Council District 2, AMIR FAROKHI. Council District 3, Antonio Brown.
Here.
Council District 4, CLETA Winslow.
Present.
Council District 5, Natalie Mosby Archibald. Council District 6, Jennifer N. Ives.
Present.
Council District 7, Howard Shook.
Aye.
Council District 8, J.P. Matsakite.
Here.
Council District 9, Dustin Hillis.
Here.
Council District 10, Andrea L. Boone.
Present.
Council District 11, MARCI Collier Overstreet.
Present.
Council District 12, Joyce and Shepard.
Present.
Quorum present.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. The next item is the adoption of the agenda, and I will always like to take this by the machine just to make sure of who's on and who's off. Mr. Amir FAROKHI is here, Mr. Clerk, so if you will mark him as present. I understand that many of you are not logged onto the system, so when I take the vote of those who are logged in, please vote, and then I will call your name to get your vote after that, as well as with speakers. If you would like to speak, if you're on the system, I will take you first, indicate with your speaker button, and then after I get those that have indicated with the speaker button, I will ask for those of you who have not logged on. So let's have a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
So moved, aye. Okay, was that Mr. Shook first?
Yes.
Okay, would you second it, Mr. Shook?
Thank you. Shook second.
Okay, motion by aye, second by Shook. Let's open the vote on the adoption of the agenda.
The vote is now open.
Okay. Ms. Boone, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Winslow?
In favor?
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. FAROKHI?
Yes.
Mr. Westmoreland?
Yes.
All votes are cast.
The vote is now closed. Populating vote. Yeas, 0 nays.
14 yeas, 0 nays. The agenda is adopted. Now we go to our invocation. We will take a few seconds of silent meditation. Thank you. Now we will go to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
and to the republic
for which
we stand,
one nation,
under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Now we're on item F, communications. Mr. Clerk.
20-B-0099, a communication from Council President FELICIA Moore calling a virtual special call meeting of the Atlanta City Council on Thursday, October 15, 2020 at 9 a.m. to consider 20-R-4432.
Thank you. We're now at item G, remarks by the public. Mr. Clerk, am I correct that we have no remarks?
That is correct. And Madam President, we do want to accept communication.
Okay, so on unanimous consent from members, we will accept and file the communication. If there's no objection. Hearing none, it's accepted and filed. Now, remarks by the public, Mr. Clerk.
Madam President, we don't have any public comments, but I will read the announcement for the record. The public may leave a comment of their concerns the day before the scheduled meeting between the hours of 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. by dialing 404-330-6001. Public comments for the special call meeting agenda shall not exceed 2 minutes.
Thank you. Now, H, legislation for consideration. The Honorable Jennifer I., Chair of the Finance Executive Committee.
Thank you, Council President Moore. The one item we have before us today is 20R4432, a resolution by Councilmember Andrea L. Boone supplementing that certain Series 2020 bond ordinance 20-0-1556 adopted by the Atlanta City Council on September 8, 2020 and approved by the Mayor on September 10, 2020 to, among other things, set forth the terms of the City of Atlanta Water and Wastewater Revenue Refunding Bonds Series 2020, including the original aggregate principal amount, interest rates, maturity amounts, and maturity dates, ratifying certain prior actions of the City Council and certain officers and agents of the City with respect to the issuance and sale of the Series 2020 bonds, ratifying and approving the execution and delivery of a bond purchase agreement, ratify and approve the preparation, use, and distribution of a preliminary official statement and the execution and delivery of a final official statement in connection with the offer and sale of the Series 2020 bonds and for other purposes. And we do have a substitute that we need to bring forward.
Okay, there's a motion to bring forth the substitute. Is there a second?
Shook seconds.
Motion by I, second by Shook to bring forth the substitute. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's open the vote on bringing forth the substitute.
Please hold. The vote is now open. Will everyone please vote?
Ms. Boone, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Winslow?
In favor.
In favor.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Westmoreland? Mr. Westmoreland?
Yes.
All votes are cast.
And Ms. Archibong is here. I vote yes as well. I'm sorry.
Okay, would you mark Ms. Archibong as present and her vote in the affirmative?
Duly noted. The vote is now closed. Populating vote. Populating vote. 15 yeas, 0 nays.
15 yeas, 0 nays. The substitute is before us. Madam Chair, is the caption different?
The caption is not different for the substitute, and
okay.
The Finance Department does have a presentation. Would you like us to make a motion in a second first, or is this the appropriate time to hear the presentation?
I think we should go ahead with the motion first.
Okay, I will make a motion to adopt on substitute.
There's a motion a motion to adopt on substitute by aye. The substitute by aye and a second by Shook. And now, Madam Chair, you can go ahead with your presentation.
Yes, I would like to call on our CFO, Roosevelt Counsel, and our Deputy CFO, John Gaffney, to give us a presentation of this bond paper.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, council members, and thanks for taking the time this morning to join us on this refunding transaction for the city's water and wastewater utilities. I'd like Deputy CFO John Gaffney to walk us through the presentation. As this COVID-19 pandemic continues to ravage local and state resources, the opportunity to issue much-needed new money bonds have been hampered by dwindling revenue. However, interest rates are at an historic low, which makes refinancing current debt at a lower rate an attractive option, especially at this time. And so this was the nature of this transaction that was executed yesterday, and this transaction produced a net present value savings of $52 million. Now, Mr. Gaffney will actually send us through the presentation with a few more details. John?
Yes, thank you, Roosevelt, and good morning, Council President and Council members. I appreciate your flexibility in attending today's meeting. And the purpose of today's meeting is actually to provide the final pricing and cash flows from the sale of the bonds. We were in the market yesterday, and as required by state law, we must come back to the governing body and populate the final pricing in the pricing resolution, as well as the bond purchase agreement that we will provide to the underwriters. So yesterday, we priced $504,590,000 in revenue refunding bonds for the taxable series 2020. And that transaction was actually authorized by Ordinance 20-1556, which was adopted by this body on September 8th, 2020. The proceeds from the bonds issued yesterday will be used for the purpose of refunding the Series 2013B and a portion of the Series 2015 bonds, as well as paying issuance costs on the transaction. The banking syndicate included Barclays, Stern Brothers, FHN Financial, Capital Markets, Dan Brass Securities, and UBS. As the CFO mentioned, the transaction produced net present value savings of about $52 million and an all-in true interest cost of 2.416%. The transaction was well received and ended up from the initial pricing wire almost 6 times oversubscribed across all maturities, which allowed the city to tighten spreads or further reduce interest costs from the initial offering. Next slide, please. Slide 3 is just a summary of the transaction. And again, you'll note the final maturity date was not pushed out. We just refunded the original maturities at more favorable interest rates. Present value savings ended up at 12.4% or $52 million. And this will save the watershed department $3.2 million annually going forward. Next slide, please. Slide 4 is just a summary of the cash flow. So the par amount of the bonds we issued, $504,590,000. We also released debt service reserve funds on hand of $6.6 million, as well as debt service fund contribution of $10.6 million, for total sources of $521,837,553. Into escrow, we put $518,752,000, The cost of issuance on this transaction was $1.1 million, and the underwriter's discount was $1.964 million, for total uses of $521,837,553. Next slide, please. Slide 5 is a comparison of the prior debt service to the new debt service. And as you can see to the far right column, it saves approximately $3.3 million a year. Or in the bottom right corner, you can see it's $76 million over the remaining life of the bonds, resulting in a net present value savings of $52.4 million. Next slide, please. The transaction team I'd like to thank included the co-bond counsel of Hunt & Andrews Kurth and the Kendall Law Firm, co-disclosure counsel Greenberg Traurig, LLP, and Riddle Schwartz, those financial advisors Hilltop Securities and Grant and Associates, co-underwriters counsel of Hardick Law Firm and Daniel Meacham and Associates. Verification agent was SMC Terminus Group, and the paying agent on this transaction was U.S. Bank. Additionally, I'd like to thank the watershed team of Makita Browning, Commissioner Makita Browning, and Mohammed Bala, as well as the feasibility consultants of Garrity Rothstein, Eric and Cody. Again, the underwriting team included Barclays, and I'd like to thank David Ardefio as well as Kathy Bell from Stern Brothers for their leadership on this transaction. And then the co-managers on this were FHN Financial Capital Markets, Ambrass Securities, and UBS Financial Services. And with that, I will take any questions you may have about the transaction.
Okay, members, if you'd like to ask questions and you're on the system, please indicate with your speaker button. Anyone that is not on the system that would like to speak, please speak. Madam Chair, I don't see any speakers. You can proceed.
Thank you, Council President. Well, we have a motion to adopt on substitute and a second before us. So if there's no further discussion, let's vote.
All right, let's open the vote.
Please vote.
Ms. Boone, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Winslow?
In favor?
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
All votes are cast.
The vote is now closed. Populating vote. Yeas, 0 nays.
15 yeas, 0 nays. It's adopted. All right.
Completes my report, Madam President.
Thank you so much. So now, Mr. Bond, you asked to speak.
Thank you, Madam President. And thank Chairwoman Hyde for her leadership. I just wanted to compliment our CFO and Deputy CFO for continuing to find ways to save the city on these refinancings. I think it is extremely important, during these uncertain times, that we can reassure the public that we're giving them the value that they've invested in us. And I appreciate the Finance Department and the leadership of the Watershed for making sure that they're pursuing these types of opportunities that will allow for this type of tremendous savings. So just want to give them a tremendous compliment.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we now go to general remarks. Are there any general remarks for the good of the order?
Madam President, this is
Yes,
Councilman
Ms. Winslow.
Winslow. Yeah, I think the Supreme Court just made a ruling a day or two ago in regard to the census. And originally, of course, the federal courts extended the census until the end of this month, till the 31st. But I believe the Supreme Court, they didn't actually reverse it, but they said they were going to go back and leave it up to the U.S. Census Bureau. So I believe, and I haven't had an opportunity to check with the mayor's office, but I talked to Angela Brown yesterday evening. I don't know if it's later on today or tomorrow, but last night she told me that people only had about another 30 hours to get their census information in. And I just want to especially say to African Americans, okay, and I can understand why some of us may not want the government to be involved or to know about our business. But then you want us to be in your business when you come and ask us for street improvements, for repaving. Then you ask us to be in your business when you ask us for new sidewalks or sidewalk repairs. You want us to be in your business when your street floods and we have to get watershed over there to dig out the catch basins and clean them out. You want us to be in your business when somebody's maybe gotten shot and you want the police there. You want us to be in your business when your house catches on fire and the fire department needs to come. So if you don't fill out your form, we will get less money from the state for all of the things that I'm talking about, as well as parks and recreation activities. So we always want to talk about, well, Buckhead has this and Buckhead has that. And I hear that. I've been hearing that for 20-something years. Let's do like Buckhead. Maybe they're filling out their census forms. Let's fill out our forms. So when you come to us, we have the money to do the things that you want us to do. Those gravel roads that we have, Dover Alley, Bush Mountain, we can't get it done without federal money. Okay? So in order for us to help you in your business when you come to us, yes, we need to get into your business and we need your count. We need the number count, okay, and some other information. So thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Ms. Winslow. We should have made you a PSA. You do an excellent job of making sure people understand that the census is very important. We missed our secret weapon with Ms. Winslow. Thank you. Any other general remarks? Any other general remarks for the good of the order? If not, I'd like to have the adjourning roll call, please.
Today's virtual special call meeting was held in accordance with OCGA 50-14-1. The adjourning roll call, Council President Moore.
Present.
Council members Bond.
Here.
Westmoreland. Dickens.
Here. And Westmoreland is unable to say here. He's on the Invest Atlanta call at the same time. But he might text here.
Anyway, thank you. Duly noted. Duly noted. Smith.
Here.
FAROKHI. Brown.
Here.
Winslow.
Present.
Archibald.
Here.
Hyde.
Present.
Shook.
Aye.
Matsakite.
Here.
Hillis.
Here.
Boone.
Present.
Overstreet.
Present.
Shepard.
Present.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Smith.
Second, Hillis.
A motion by Smith, second by Hillis to adjourn on unanimous consent. We stand adjourned, and thank you all for your participation. The meeting is adjourned.